Well, here we are back out on the trail. Gonna do a little hiking, then we're gonna make us some lunch. Today we're gonna make some semi-homemade chicken and dumplings. Stay tuned. I think we've picked a spot where we can eat. Let's get some of that water we collected earlier, and we'll go ahead and filter that. Then we'll get our chicken and dumplings going. It was a bit interesting getting out here. Clearly no one else had been through here today, and I ended up with all the spider webs. So I keep feeling like something's on there. The cook combination we're going to use today is going to be the PocketRocket Deluxe 2 with the self-igniter and a GSI Duelist. Inside the cook kit, I've nested some cleaning supplies and all of my spices that I'll be using today. Those little bowls actually come in kind of handy. But let's get our water in there and get going. So let me show you a couple of things about how I transported my ingredients. I already showed you how I nested my spices in the GSI cook set and the Duelist cook set. But what about the cold items? I mean, if I'm going to try to make a decent chicken and dumplings or chicken and dumplings, you know, there's cold ingredients. So how do you get those, especially the chicken? How do you get it out into the wilderness without it going bad on you? Well, the easiest thing to do is, first off, cook the chicken at home. That way you've got cooked chicken, so there's less chance of it being spoiled. You know it's cooked. Then it's just a matter of reheating it. That makes it a lot easier. I took one of these cold packs. It's one of the lunch boxes my son used to carry to school. And I put all the cold ingredients in here. Got some biscuits, shrooms, and I've got half of a leftover Cornish hen that we had for dinner the other night. And that's what actually gave me the idea to do this. I was like, chicken and dumplings. So we'll get the meat off of that here in just a second. And then the other thing that I've got in the bottom here to help keep everything nice and cold while it's in the bag for transport, frozen peas and carrots. And that should be sufficient to keep your ingredients cold. I mean, these are still frozen. That stuff is still cold, so this works. Let's go ahead and break some of this chicken up. You can see there's the onions that were cooked inside of the little hens. So I thought that would be good for some added flavor. These are the little thighs. And I like to keep the meat kind of chunky. And I use the skin as well. You don't have to use the skin. I mean, you know, you do your meal the way you want to, but this is the way I'm going to do mine. But you see, there's the half of the little hen. Let's go ahead and cut these onions down a little bit. I'm not too worried about making even sizes or anything. Just want to cut the size down a bit so it incorporates a little better. Alrighty. Hit these mushrooms. Here's how we're going to do the dumplings. I'm not a pinch it and toss it in. I like them kind of firm. So that means I'm going to have to roll them out a little bit or press them down at least, and then slice them into some dumplings. So put us a little flour out on our cutting board there. Take a dumpling, pat it in some of that flour so we can work with it. And then basically just mash them out. And that little bit of extra flour that's on the exterior of the dumplings will also act as a thickening agent when it's time to cook the dumplings. And then basically just cut them up. That fly's buzzing around. He must be hungry too. All right, that's all there is to that. I'll go ahead and do the other 4 and then we'll get started. Okay, you can see we've got us a good rolling boil going. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to drop in my spice mix and let that get going. And then we're going to turn this down just a little bit so we can turn that into a bit of a simmer. But the spice mix is pepper, a little garlic powder, a little onion powder, and a couple of chicken bouillon cubes. And some parsley. But I'll put all that in the description. And then we don't want to put too much salt in here because there's a lot of things that have salt in it already, but just a little more. Just so you can see them. There's how many dumplings the 5 biscuits made. I thought they turned out pretty good. And then you can see our chicken that I pulled apart. Our onions and mushrooms. And 1 can cream of chicken. You know, from looking at all this, I'm not even sure that we're going to need this, but I'll probably use some of it. Let's go ahead and pick that boil back up again a little bit. Since we're going to start adding some ingredients. And what we're going to go ahead and throw in there is our onions and mushrooms. Go ahead and get some of that cream of chicken up in there. Actually, this is the first time I've ever used cream of chicken in a chicken and dumplings recipe. I've seen a few people where they've used it, and I thought it looked like a pretty good shortcut for this kind of a recipe, so I thought I'd give it a try. But normally I would make, you know, the roux with some butter and flour, and push come to shove, if I needed it a little thicker, you'd mix up a little cornstarch in some cold water and then use that as a thickening agent. And we're going to go ahead and drop some of this chicken. You know what, actually, since this is pre-cooked, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go ahead and do some dumplings. And get these bad puppies in there. Uh-oh. We got an ant that's trying to hijack a dumpling. Better be careful, buddy. I'll throw you in there. That doesn't scare me. See? Look at him. He trying to get some too. You know what? I'm going to cut you a break and I'm not going to throw you in there. You worse than my cat. Always got to be up in stuff. Well, I don't know if we're going to have room for all the dumplings. Isn't that something? Heck, I don't know if we're going to have room for the chicken. All right, see you later, Ant. Pew! Pat these down a bit. Throw some of this chicken in. There's a mix. The little hen, it had some dark meat and, well, you know, it was thigh meat and breast meat, so I used a little of both. Ooh. We're going to have to let that cook down a little bit. Well, you can see most of those dumplings have dropped. And Grandma always said that's when they're ready. So we're going to pull that off the burner, let it cool down a bit, and then give it the old taste test. Scoop that up. You got dumplings, chicken, shrooms. And you can see that the broth thickened up pretty well. Oh, and there was also in my spice mixture, I didn't say anything about it. I kind of forgot at the moment. There was also some paprika and cayenne in that spice mixture, so this got a little bit of spice to it, but clearly you wouldn't have to put that in there if you don't want to. But there's what we got going right there. Not bad, looking pretty good. Let's give this a try. Well, the chicken is on point. Of course, that's more a testament to my wife's cooking than mine. She's the one that made the Cornish Hen, so she seasoned all of that. But the seasoning for the broth, it's really good. You can taste the cayenne, the paprika, pepper, the garlic and the onion isn't overpowering. The mushrooms, they add a nice little earthiness. And then of course you got the parsley. But ooh, it's making my nose run. But it's really good. It's got a little bit of spice to it, but I mean it's not terrible. I'm not a real big spice person, so if I say a little bit, that's exactly what I mean, is a little bit. The dumplings are perfect. I like the thin, firm ones. If you're the kind of person that likes the like the big dough balls, then when you take the biscuits, don't roll them out or pat them down. Just take the biscuits out of the can and pull chunks off and throw it into the broth, and that'll make the dumplings the way that you like, if you like them that way. But this is definitely a good hearty meal. If you were doing an overnight, you know, and you put in a bunch of walking that day and you were looking for something to just really fill you up so you could lay down in that hammock or on that sleeping pad and just pass out, get a good night's sleep. This right here. This is good stuff. Now, if you're wondering what happened to the peas and carrots, there was just too much food. I felt like I was wasting them if I used them here. So it's fine without them. I think it'd be a little better with them because I like the vegetables. Some people don't like them, but it's really good. I would give this a good solid 9. But the downside now is after I eat all this, I got to walk back out to the car. And that's a few miles away. I should have picked the spot a little closer. But what are you going to do? So, I tell you, I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I've been to restaurants that didn't make it this good. And the broth thickened up really well. Everything incorporated. It's just a good solid dish. Everything works together. Butterfly. If you like the video and the recipe, give me a thumbs up. You know, it helps me out because it shows that there's activity on the channel, and it also lets me know that it's appreciated, and then that motivates me to make more content. And I don't know if I'm getting any better at it, but I'm enjoying it more. I'm not as bashful about being in front of the camera as I used to be, which if you go back and look at a couple of my first ones, you can tell they were pretty bad. But, you know, that's the way it usually works. And if you want to follow the channel, then go ahead and subscribe. Also, if you have your own version of chicken and dumplings that you like to make in the field, go ahead and share it in the comment section. I'm sure everybody else, the few people that are going to watch this, would love to see it. You know, I mean, not everybody likes stuff the same. So instead of me just saying, this is the best, you know, share your ideas in the comment section, and then everybody can take what they like and leave the rest. I'm going to go ahead and call it a day and clean up my space here, head back to the car, and I don't know, may crack me open a couple of adult beverages at home. Who knows? My son has started his own channel, Gastro Gavin, where he makes vintage recipes, and then his mother and I, my wife and I, we have to eat them, and some of them are pretty nasty, but some of them are actually decent. He's made a couple of videos now, and so if you'd slide over there and give him a look-see, you know, I'm sure he would appreciate that. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a great day.